In 1968, a group of teenagers in Serbia dragged loose wooden planks onto a rock in the middle of a river and built a tiny cabin. They just wanted shade. That cabin has been destroyed and rebuilt 7 times since. In 1974, a family in Portugal wedged a house between 4 granite boulders that are over 400 million years old. The boulders became the walls, the roof, and the foundation. In 1960, an architect in Los Angeles put an entire home on a single concrete leg because the hillside was too steep for anything else. These are not accidents. These are choices, repeated across centuries, across continents, by people who looked at the most dangerous, unstable, and impossible ground on Earth and decided to call it home. Every house on this list exists because someone refused to accept that a place was unlivable. And what that refusal cost them is something the numbers alone cannot fully explain. Drina River House, Serbia. A one-room wooden cabin sits on a bare rock in the middle of a rushing river. No bridge leads to it, no road connects it, just fast water on every side. The Drina River House perches on a single boulder in the Drina River near Bajina Bašta in western Serbia. The river is one of the most unpredictable waterways in Europe, known for flash floods that can raise water levels by several meters in hours. A group of teenage swimmers built the original cabin in 1968, using loose planks the river itself had carried downstream. They wanted a place to rest between swims, nothing more. But the Drina had other plans. It has destroyed the house 7 times since that first summer. Each time locals rebuilt it on the same rock, in the same spot, refusing to let the river win. In some cases, the entire cabin was swept downstream in one piece. Builders chased it by kayak for kilometers just to drag it back. The current structure, standing since 2011, is anchored with 2 concrete beams drilled into the boulder. It is the most reinforced version ever built, but engineers say the next major flood could still take it. In August 2012, National Geographic selected a photograph of the Drina River House as its photo of the month. Millions of people saw it. The image showed the tiny wooden box sitting alone in the middle of churning green water, looking both defiant and impossibly fragile. Every year, the Drina Regatta, a river event drawing up to 20,000 participants, floats directly past the cabin. Standing inside it during high water, you can feel the floor vibrate beneath your feet as the current presses against the rock. The sound is constant, a deep, low roar that never stops. What began as a teenager's summer project is now a symbol of pure stubbornness. But stubbornness looks different when your house is built between boulders older than most mountain ranges. Hanging houses of Cuenca, Spain. 500 years ago, builders in central Spain ran out of room inside their walled city. So they pushed their houses to the edge of a cliff and kept building. The casas colgadas, meaning hanging houses, sit on the rim of a sheer gorge above the Huecar River in Cuenca, Spain. Their wooden balconies extend directly over a vertical drop of nearly 40 meters to the water below. Built in the 15th century, these homes were not designed for spectacle. Space inside the city walls was limited and every square foot mattered. Builders constructed right up to the cliff edge, then cantilevered balconies out over open air. Residents used those hanging platforms to dry clothes and store goods. Daily chores performed meters above a fatal fall, with nothing between them and the river but gravity. Today, the hanging houses are a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Spain's most visited landmarks.
One building now holds the Museum of Spanish Abstract Art, but the structures are aging. Engineers monitor the cliff face beneath them constantly, watching for erosion and shifting rock. A single fracture in the wrong place could send a section of the gorge wall sliding into the river, and the house above it would follow. Standing on one of the balconies, you feel the wind rising from the gorge below. The wooden floor creaks with each step. You can look straight down between the planks and see the river far beneath your feet. The sensation is not vertigo. It is the slow realization that nothing solid exists between you and the bottom. These homes were never meant to last 5 centuries. The fact that they have makes the next century the real question.
If you've ever stood at the edge of something high enough to make your stomach drop, you know that feeling. Leave a comment and tell us, would you step onto one of those balconies? Setenil de las Bodegas, Spain. Most towns are built on top of the ground. This one was built underneath it. Setenil de las Bodegas is a small town in Cádiz province in southern Spain, carved into a narrow gorge along the Trejo River. Many of its homes, shops, and restaurants have their rear walls and ceilings formed entirely by natural rock overhangs. The cliff face is literally the roof. Around 3,000 people live here, eating, sleeping, and working beneath hundreds of tons of stone suspended above their heads by nothing but geology. The town dates back to the Moorish period, when settlers chose the gorge for its natural defense. The overhangs provided shelter from rain, sun, and military attack. When the forces of Ferdinand and Isabella took the town in 1484, after a prolonged siege, the cliff-carved settlement was already centuries old. The risk is not historical, it is geological. The overhangs are natural formations, not engineered supports. They are subject to the same weathering, erosion, and seismic stress as any exposed rock in Andalusia. Spain's southern region experiences periodic earthquakes, and a significant tremor in the wrong location could destabilize the formations that thousands of people sleep beneath every night. Walking through the town's main street, you pass through sections where the rock ceiling hangs so low you could reach up and touch it. Sunlight disappears for entire blocks. The air turns cooler and damper, and the sound of your footsteps echoes off stone that has been there for millions of years. Shop owners arrange fruit displays and hang meats from hooks drilled into the rock above their heads, as casually as if they were working under drywall. Living beneath a mountain is normal here, but normal does not mean safe. It just means nobody has been given a reason to leave yet. Casa do Penedo, Portugal. 4 granite boulders sit in the mountains of northern Portugal. In 1974, someone looked at them and saw a house. Casa do Penedo, meaning house of stone, was built in the Fafe Mountains using 4 naturally occurring boulders as its primary structure. 2 form the walls. 1 forms part of the roof. The 4th acts as a base support. The result looks less like architecture and more like something the mountain grew on its own. The house sits at high altitude in the Serra da Peneda range, exposed to heavy snow, brutal mountain winds, and near-freezing temperatures in winter. It has no connection to the national electrical grid. It originally relied on whatever the mountain itself could provide, a small pool built between the boulders for water, and nothing else for power. The boulders that form its skeleton are estimated to be over 400 million years old. They were ancient before the first dinosaurs walked the earth, and someone wedged a front door between them and moved in. The house is a single story, with small windows cut into gaps between the stone. Inside, the walls curve where the boulder surfaces dictate. No two rooms are the same shape. The ceiling height changes every few feet. Despite its extreme remoteness, Casa do Penedo became so popular with tourists that the owners could no longer live there privately. Thousands of hikers trekked up the mountain each year just to see it, crowding around the boulders and peering through the windows. The home is now a tourist attraction and small museum. Standing next to it, you feel the wind that scours this ridgeline almost constantly, cold, sharp, and carrying the smell of wet granite. The boulders do not creak or shift. They have been here for 400 million years. The house between them has been here for 50. That difference matters. If this is your first time watching Explore Danger, this is what we do. We go to the places most people never hear about and tell you exactly what it is like to be there. Subscribe so you do not miss what comes next. Wozoko Apartments, Amsterdam, Netherlands. 13 apartments hang off the side of this building. They are bolted to the exterior wall and suspended over a busy street with nothing underneath them but steel rods and open air. Wozoko is a housing complex in Amsterdam's Oostdorp district, designed by Dutch firm MVRDV and completed in 1997. The building was commissioned to house 100 elderly residents, but the plot could legally fit only 87 units. Instead of cutting 13 apartments from the plans, the architects cantilevered them directly off the north face of the building. Each unit juts out between 2.6 and 9.6 meters from the main structure, held in place by massive steel rods anchored into the load-bearing core. From the street below, the steel rods are fully visible, and the building looks like it is slowly falling apart. It is not. Every load calculation was done to the millimeter, and the structure has stood without a single incident for nearly 30 years. The design won multiple international architecture awards and is studied in engineering schools around the world. But for the residents living in those 13 suspended units, the experience is different from the blueprints. Every creak of the building is amplified by the knowledge that your living room floor ends where the outside wall should be, and beyond that, there is only air. On windy days, residents in the outermost apartments report a faint swaying sensation. Engineers say this is normal flex within the steel support system. The residents say it does not feel normal. Looking up from the sidewalk, you see the underside of someone's kitchen jutting out above you, like a drawer pulled too far from a cabinet. The shadow it casts moves slightly when the wind picks up. People walk beneath these apartments every day without looking up. The residents inside them do not have that luxury. Their floor is someone else's sky. Some of these houses were designed by world-famous architects. But the ones coming next were not designed at all. They were carved, forced, and improvised out of pure necessity. Falling Water, Pennsylvania, USA. America's most famous house was cracking within a decade of being built. Falling Water is a private residence in the Laurel Highlands of southwestern Pennsylvania, designed by Frank Lloyd Wright and completed in 1939. It was built for the Kaufman family directly over Bear Run Waterfall, with dramatic concrete terraces cantilevered above the rushing water below. At the time, it was one of the most daring structural feats ever attempted in residential architecture. Wright insisted the building was structurally perfect. His own engineers disagreed from day one. When the concrete forms were removed during construction, the main terrace sagged nearly 2 inches more than Wright had predicted. He dismissed the concern. Over the following decades, the house proved the engineers right.
Cracks spread across the floors, walls bowed outward. Moisture rising from the waterfall below caused constant damage to the concrete and steel reinforcements. By 2002, the situation was critical. A major restoration project required steel cables to be threaded through the concrete terraces to prevent total structural collapse. The fix worked, but the building remains in a permanent state of managed deterioration. Water, humidity, gravity, and time, the same forces that make the waterfall beautiful, are the forces that are slowly pulling the house apart. More than 170,000 visitors tour Falling Water every year. Standing on the lower terrace, you hear the waterfall directly beneath your feet. The mist drifts upward through gaps in the stone, and the air is permanently damp. The concrete feels cool and slightly soft under your hand, not like rock, more like something that has been slowly dissolving for 80 years. Wright called this house his masterpiece. Engineers call it a masterpiece that will never stop trying to destroy itself. That terrace, sagging 2 inches, might not sound like much, until you realize the entire structure is cantilevered over moving water, with no ground beneath it. If that fact made you pause, drop a like so more people can find stories like this one. Chemosphere House, Los Angeles, USA. This house has one way in and one way out. If it fails, you are stranded on a hillside, with no road, no stairs, and no alternative. The Chemosphere is a private residence in the Hollywood Hills of Los Angeles, designed by architect John Lautner and completed in 1960. The hillside it sits on drops at a 45-degree angle, too steep for any conventional foundation. Lautner's solution was radical. He mounted the entire octagonal house on top of a single concrete pillar, 5.5 meters tall, driven deep into the slope. The house has no road access whatsoever. The only way to reach it is a private funicular, a small cable car that carries residents up from a garage at the bottom of the hill. If the cable fails, if the motor breaks, if the power goes out, the occupants are stranded on a concrete platform attached to a single leg on a near vertical slope. In 1961, Encyclopedia Britannica called it the most modern home built in the world. It has appeared in films and television shows for decades, its flying saucer shape visible from streets far below. In 2000, a German publisher purchased the house and completed a full restoration. It remains a private residence today. Approaching the Chemosphere from below, you see it perched above you like a UFO that landed on a stick. The funicular car is small, room for 2 people and a bag of groceries. The ride up takes less than a minute, but you feel every second of it as the cable pulls you above the tree line and the city spreads out below. At the top, you step off onto a narrow platform. Behind you is the drop. In front of you is the front door. There is no yard, no driveway, no sidewalk. Just a house on a pole above Los Angeles, accessible only by a single steel cable. Just enough room, island, New York, USA. The house on this island takes up nearly every square inch of land that exists. There is no yard. There is no garden. There is a door, a few steps, and the river. Just Enough Room Island sits in the St. Lawrence River in New York's Thousand Islands region. It measures roughly 310 square meters total, making it one of the smallest inhabited islands in the world. The Scissorland family purchased it in the 1950s with a specific goal: find the smallest piece of land that legally qualified as an island. Local rules required at least 1 tree and enough space for a structure.
They found a rock that barely met those requirements, bought it, and built a house that fills almost the entire surface. A single tree remains. A small patch of grass surrounds the foundation. And then there is water on every side. During high water periods, the river nearly reaches the front door. In winter, heavy ice flows regularly damage the small dock, and the island is completely cut off from the mainland. There is no bridge. There is no ferry service. There is no emergency vehicle access of any kind. If something goes wrong, a medical emergency, a fire, a structural failure, the only option is a private boat across a river known for strong currents and unpredictable weather. From a passing boat, the island looks like a postcard. A tiny house with red shutters sitting on a green speck in a wide blue river. But step onto the dock and the scale hits you immediately. You can stand at the front door and throw a stone into the water in any direction. The walls of the house are closer to the waterline than most people's furniture is to their windows. The Scissorland family still owns it today. They wanted the smallest possible island, and they got exactly that, with emphasis on the word possible. Living on an island barely bigger than your house is one kind of extreme. But what about living underground because the surface is trying to kill you? If you are watching this far into the video, you already know this channel does not waste your time. Hit subscribe. We have a lot more ground to cover, and it only gets more extreme from here. Coober Pedy Underground Homes, Australia. The temperature above ground hits 50 degrees Celsius in summer, so the entire town moved underground. Coober Pedy is a small mining town in the South Australian desert, and roughly half its population lives in homes carved directly into the sandstone hillsides below the surface. These homes are called dugouts, and they are not primitive shelters. Many have full kitchens, multiple bedrooms, living rooms, and even underground churches. The reason is pure survival. Surface temperatures in this part of Australia are among the highest recorded anywhere on Earth. Below ground, the sandstone maintains a natural 23 degrees Celsius year-round, comfortable without any heating or cooling system. The same mining techniques used to dig for opals, Coober Pedy's primary industry and the source of over 70% of the world's opal supply, are used to expand the homes. Need another bedroom? Grab a pickaxe and start digging. The real danger is not the heat. It is what lies beneath the ground everywhere else in town. The entire area is riddled with thousands of unmarked mine shafts, some dropping 30 meters straight down, with no fencing, no signage, and no warning. Walking around Coober Pedy at night without a flashlight is genuinely life-threatening. Visitors have fallen into abandoned shafts and never been recovered. Standing at the entrance to a dugout, you step from blinding white sunlight into cool, silent darkness. The walls are smooth sandstone, pale gold and cream, carved by machine and hand. The air inside is still and dry. There is no sound from the surface, no wind, no traffic, no insects. It is one of the quietest living environments on Earth. But every few meters outside your front door, the ground could open up beneath your feet without warning. In Coober Pedy, the danger is not what is above you. It is the ground you are standing on. Afar Depression Homes, Ethiopia. Average daily temperatures here exceed 50 degrees Celsius. The ground splits open without warning. Acid pools steam beside active lava lakes, and 1.5 million people call it home. The Afar Depression is a geological lowland in northeastern Ethiopia sitting at the junction of three tectonic plates that are slowly pulling apart. Parts of it lie more than 100 meters below sea level, making it one of the lowest points on the African continent. The Afar people, a semi-nomadic group, have lived in this landscape for thousands of years. Their homes are lightweight structures built from wood and woven mats, designed to be dismantled and moved in hours. These are not houses in any Western sense. They are survival tools, portable, ventilated, and disposable when the ground beneath them shifts. The Danakil subregion, part of the Depression, holds the record as the hottest permanently inhabited place on Earth, with average year-round temperatures around 34 degrees Celsius and peaks that push well beyond 50. The Erta Ale volcano, located within the depression, has maintained an active lava lake for over a century. Hot springs, sulfuric acid pools, and frequent earthquakes make the landscape feel more like another planet than a place where families raise children and herd camels. The Afar people survive through camel herding and salt mining from dried lake beds, using trade routes that have operated for centuries. Their homes face threats that most structures on Earth will never encounter. Not just heat, but ground that is geologically alive and constantly in motion. Standing in the Afar Depression at midday, the heat is not just around you. It rises from the ground beneath your feet, distorting the air so badly that the horizon shimmers and bends. The smell of sulfur sits in the back of your throat. For the Afar, this is not a destination or an adventure. It is simply home, and it has been for longer than most nations have existed. The places you have seen so far were built despite the danger. The ones coming next were built because of it. Perched on volcanoes, suspended over oceans, and anchored to cliffs that have been crumbling for centuries. Phoenix House, Hawaii, USA. This house sits on a lava field at the base of the most active volcano in the world. The architect put it there on purpose. The Phoenix House is a private residence and holiday rental in Kalapana on the Big Island of Hawaii, sitting on hardened lava at the base of Kilauea, which has been in near continuous eruption since 1983. It was deliberately built in Lava Zone 1, the area classified as highest risk for future flows. The entire neighborhood of Royal Gardens, which once surrounded this area, was completely destroyed by lava between 1983 and 2012. Every house, every road, every yard, buried under meters of solid rock. The Phoenix House was built on top of that destruction around 2014 by architect Will Bailhartz. The name is intentional. It references rising from the ashes of what the volcano already consumed. The house was designed to be low impact and relocatable, an acknowledgement that the lava will almost certainly return. In 2018, Kilauea erupted again, sending new flows across the lower East Rift Zone and destroying over 700 additional homes. The Phoenix House survived that eruption, but geologists at the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory have made clear that survival is temporary. The question is not whether new lava will reach this location, it is when. Standing on the property, you see the lava field stretching in every direction. Black, jagged rock frozen in mid-flow, covering what used to be streets and driveways. Here and there, a section of old road or a cracked foundation pokes through the surface. The air smells faintly of sulfur when the wind shifts. At night, if conditions are right, you can see a faint red glow from the volcanic vents miles away. The Phoenix House was named for rebirth, but the volcano that surrounds it has not finished yet. Building a house on a lava field takes a specific kind of courage. But imagine an entire country where every home sits less than 2 meters above the ocean, and the ocean is rising. Maldives Overwater Bungalows, Maldives. The entire nation sits an average of 1.5 meters above sea level. One major storm could swallow whole islands. The Maldives is an island nation in the Indian Ocean, made up of 1,192 coral islands, and it holds the record as the lowest-lying country on Earth. No point on any island rises more than 2.4 meters above sea level. Overwater bungalows, homes and resort villas built on stilts directly above the ocean are not just tourist attractions here. For many communities, building over water is the only practical response to the severe shortage of usable land. The real threat is not the stilts. It is the sea itself. Scientists project that if current rates of sea level rise continue, the majority of the Maldives will be uninhabitable by 2100.
The government has already begun purchasing land in other countries, including Sri Lanka and Australia, as a contingency plan to relocate its entire population. Storm surges are an immediate and recurring threat. In December 2004, the Indian Ocean tsunami flooded over 80% of the Maldives' total land area. Entire islands were submerged for hours. People living in overwater structures had no higher ground to retreat to. There was none to retreat to. From inside an overwater bungalow, the view is stunning. Turquoise water stretching to the horizon in every direction. The floor is warm wood, and through glass panels you can watch fish swim beneath your living room. The sound of the ocean is constant, gentle, and rhythmic. It sounds like peace. But that same water rises a fraction of a millimeter higher every year, and there is no hill, no mountain, no elevation of any kind to escape to if it rises too fast. The Maldives is a country where beauty and existential threat are the exact same thing. The ocean that makes it paradise is the ocean that will eventually erase it. That is, an entire nation facing erasure by the water it is built upon. If that kind of story matters to you, share this video with someone who should hear it. Awareness starts with people like you choosing to pass it on. Hanging Monastery, Mount Heng, China. This monastery has been clinging to a vertical cliff for over 1,500 years, held in place by wooden beams jammed into holes drilled into solid rock.
The Shuangkong Temple, known as the Hanging Monastery, is built into the sheer cliff face of Mount Heng in Shaanxi Province, China. Constructed during the Northern Wei dynasty around 491 AD, it hangs approximately 50 meters above the ground, supported entirely by oak crossbeams inserted horizontally into the rock. The cliff wall itself forms the back of every room. The monastery was placed high on the cliff for two practical reasons: to protect it from the flooding of the Jinlong River below, and to shelter it beneath a natural rock overhang that deflects heavy mountain rain. Those design decisions were made over 1,500 years ago, and they still work. The monastery has survived earthquakes, floods, and 15 centuries of weather in one of China's most mountainous regions. Today, the complex houses 40 rooms connected by corridors, boardwalks, and bridges, all suspended above a drop that would be fatal from any point in the structure. The wooden walkways flex and creak under the weight of visitors, and the handrails are original, thin wooden posts that a strong push could snap. Looking down from any walkway, there is nothing but air and the valley floor far below. The Tang Dynasty poet Li Bai visited the Hanging Monastery and was so disturbed by what he saw that he carved the words "unimaginably precipitous" into the rock nearby. That carving is still visible today, over 1,000 years later. The wooden beams holding the structure to the cliff have been replaced in sections over the centuries. But the method has never changed: oak into stone, friction against gravity. For 1,500 years, that has been enough. Whether it remains enough is a question the monastery answers one day at a time. If a monastery held by wooden beams for 15 centuries unsettles you, consider what it means to live on top of a limestone pillar 40 meters tall, with no staircase and no way down except a rope. Kotsky Pillar Monastery, Georgia. A monk climbed to the top of a 40-meter limestone pillar and stayed for 20 years. He came down twice a week. This is not legend, it is documented fact. The Kotsky Pillar is a natural rock column in the Imereti region of western Georgia, standing approximately 40 meters tall, roughly the height of a 13-story building. On its flat top, which measures just 150 square meters, sits a medieval monastery complex complete with a chapel, a wine cellar, hermit cells, and a burial crypt. The monastery dates to the 9th or 10th century, and evidence suggests it was actively used through the 13th century. The pillar was so difficult to reach that an 18th century Georgian scholar wrote, "There is a small church on the top of the rock, but nobody is able to ascend it, nor know they how to do that." It was not until July 1944 that a team of mountaineers completed the first documented modern climb to the summit. What they found stunned the academic world. Intact medieval structures that had been untouched for centuries. In 1993, a monk named Maxim Kavtaradze climbed to the top and essentially moved in. With help from local villagers, he restored the 1,200-year-old chapel by hand, hauling materials up the sheer rock face using ropes and pulleys. He lived in near total isolation above the clouds for 2 decades, descending only twice a week. Standing at the base, you tilt your head back, and the pillar fills your entire field of vision. A vertical column of pale limestone rising straight up with no handholds, no ledges, and no obvious way to reach the top. The wind at the base is calm, but at the summit it is constant and exposed. The pillar has since been closed to the public, making it one of the most unreachable inhabited structures on Earth. One man chose to live up there for 20 years. The rest of us can barely comprehend looking up at it. Meteora Monasteries, Greece. For 700 years, the only way into these monasteries was a rope and a wooden net hauled up by hand. If the rope broke, you fell. Meteora is a complex of 6 Eastern Orthodox monasteries built on top of natural sandstone pillars in central Greece near the town of Kalimbaka. The pillars rise up to 400 meters from the valley floor, and the first monasteries were constructed in the 14th century on the most inaccessible peaks the monks could find. The location was chosen deliberately. The constant warfare and invasion sweeping through Greece at the time made defensibility the single most important factor in choosing where to live and worship. The monks chose pillars that no army could climb. The cost was that they could barely climb them either. For nearly 700 years, the only access was by rope ladders or large nets hauled up by hand-cranked winches. Supplies, building materials, and human beings were all transported this way. The ropes were reportedly replaced only when they broke, a maintenance policy that would violate every modern safety code ever written. Steps were not carved into the rock until the 1920s. Before that, every person who entered a Meteora monastery did so dangling from a rope hundreds of meters above solid ground, trusting fibers that had no inspection schedule and no backup. Today, 6 of the original 24 monasteries remain active and form a UNESCO World Heritage Site, drawing over 1 million visitors per year. Monks still live at the summit, just as they have for 7 centuries. The sandstone pillars beneath them are still eroding. Geologists confirm the formations have been wearing away for millions of years and will eventually collapse. Standing in the valley below, you see the monasteries perched on top of stone towers so narrow they look like they could topple in a strong wind. The monks above you chose this. Isolation measured in vertical meters, safety defined by the strength of a rope. And some dangers are not built by humans at all. Some are carved into the side of a mountain by a queen, and then torn open by an earthquake. Leave a comment below. Of the monasteries on this list so far, which location would take the most courage to visit? We read every single response. Vardzia Cave City, Georgia. An earthquake ripped the face off a mountain and exposed a hidden city of 3,000 rooms carved into solid rock. Vardzia is a cave monastery and city cut into the slopes of Erusheti Mountain in southern Georgia. Queen Tamar ordered its construction in the 12th century as both a functioning city and a military refuge hidden inside the mountain. At its peak, Vardzia contained over 3,000 rooms, churches, libraries, a throne room, pharmacies, bakeries, and wine cellars, all tunneled into volcanic rock at altitudes reaching 1,300 meters. The city was designed to be invisible from the outside. From the valley below, the mountainside looked like an ordinary slope. Behind it, tens of thousands of people lived, worked, and worshipped inside a network of corridors, staircases, and chambers, lit by oil lamps and ventilated by shafts cut to the surface. The concealment was total. Then, in 1283, a massive earthquake struck. The quake sheared away an estimated 2/3 of the mountain's outer rock face. The entire front wall of the hidden city collapsed into the valley, exposing every chamber, every corridor, and every room that had been buried inside the mountain for over a century. What had been invisible became an open cliff face of carved rooms, stacked 12 stories high, with nothing between them and the air. The earthquake also destroyed the city's irrigation and water supply systems. The population never recovered. Today, a small community of monks still inhabits a section of Vardzia. The 12th century Church of the Dormition survives, its original fresco of Queen Tamar still visible on the walls. The carved rooms that remain sit on the open cliff face, hundreds of meters above the valley floor, with no railings, no barriers, and no safety infrastructure of any kind. Walking through Vardzia, you step through doorways that open directly onto a vertical drop. The stone floor ends, and the next step is 400 meters of empty air. A city built to hide from the world was forced open by the earth itself. Lake Kivu Homes, DR Congo and Rwanda. Beneath the surface of this lake sit 300 cubic kilometers of dissolved methane gas. If it erupts, the death toll could reach into the millions. Lake Kivu lies on the border between the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda in Central Africa. It is one of the deepest lakes on the continent and one of only 3 known exploding lakes on Earth. Bodies of water that contain massive quantities of dissolved carbon dioxide and methane trapped in their deep layers. Tens of thousands of people live directly on the lake's shores and on islands within it. Fishing communities depend on its waters for their daily survival. Children swim in it, Families wash clothes at its edge. The surface looks calm, blue, and ordinary. But 300 meters below that surface, the pressure holds enough gas to create a catastrophe with almost no parallel in recorded history. The specific danger is called a limnic eruption, a sudden massive release of gas from the lake's depths, triggered by a disturbance such as an earthquake or volcanic activity. In 1986, Lake Nyos in Cameroon experienced a limnic eruption that released a cloud of carbon dioxide, suffocating approximately 1,800 people overnight as they slept. Lake Kivu holds roughly 1,000 times more gas than Lake Nyos did. Rwanda has been extracting methane from the lake since 2015, using it as an energy source to power homes and businesses, while slowly reducing the risk. But extraction is slow. The gas replenishes continuously from volcanic sources deep underground. And the two active volcanoes nearby, Nyiragongo and Nyamulagira, mean the possibility of a triggering event never fully disappears. Standing on the shore of Lake Kivu at sunset, the water is glass still and golden. Birds call from the trees along the bank. It is one of the most beautiful lakes in Africa. And beneath that beauty sits enough trapped gas to kill every living thing within kilometers in a matter of minutes. Some of the most dangerous places on Earth do not look dangerous at all. The scale of what could happen at Lake Kivu is almost impossible to process. 1,000 times the gas that killed 1,800 people overnight. Numbers like that deserve to be understood, not scrolled past. If this content is teaching you something real, a like helps it reach people who need to hear it. Tibetan Plateau Homes, Tibet. The air here contains 40% less oxygen than at sea level. Every breath is a negotiation with altitude, and over 6 million people live this way permanently. The Tibetan Plateau is the highest and largest plateau on Earth, spanning over 2.5 million square kilometers across Tibet, parts of China, India, and Nepal. It sits at an average elevation of approximately 4,500 meters above sea level, so high it is called the roof of the world. At this altitude, the human body operates under constant physiological stress. Reduced oxygen affects sleep, digestion, cognitive function, and physical exertion. Visitors from lower elevations frequently suffer acute altitude sickness within hours of arriving. For the people born here, genetic adaptations developed over thousands of years allow survival, but the environment remains punishing in every measurable way. Traditional Tibetan homes, rammed earth and stone structures with thick walls and small windows, are built to withstand temperatures that drop to minus 40 degrees Celsius in winter, along with extreme winds, intense solar radiation, and earthquakes. The plateau sits on the collision zone between the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates, which pushes the plateau measurably higher every year and triggers regular seismic activity. For the nomadic herders called Drokpa, home is a yak hair tent moved with the seasons, a living arrangement unchanged for thousands of years. In settled villages, stone walls 2 feet thick trap warmth and block winds that can strip exposed skin raw in minutes. Standing on the plateau, the sky is a shade of blue that does not exist at lower altitudes. The sunlight is blinding and harsh, unfiltered by the thin atmosphere. The silence is vast and total. Every home here, whether tent or stone, exists in constant negotiation with a landscape that gives nothing freely. And yet 6 million people remain, generation after generation, at the ceiling of the world. We are almost at the end of this list, but the final 2 entries sit in places where nature's power is not gradual. It is sudden, violent, and measured in seconds. La Jument Lighthouse, France. In 1989, a photographer stood in the doorway of this lighthouse as a 30-meter wave hit the building from behind. The photo became one of the most famous images ever taken. La Jument is a lighthouse standing on a small rock reef off the coast of Brittany in northwestern France. It was built between 1904 and 1911, after the British ship Drummond Castle sank nearby in 1896, killing 243 people. The reef sits fully exposed to the open Atlantic, which in this stretch of water regularly produces some of the largest waves in Europe. The lighthouse keeper lived here full-time in near total isolation. During winter storms, waves struck the base with enough force to shake the entire structure. Access by supply boat was sometimes impossible for weeks. The keeper sat alone inside a tower of stone in the middle of the Atlantic, listening to the ocean try to pull his home apart. In December 1989, French photographer Jean Guichard flew over La Jument by helicopter during a severe storm. He photographed keeper Théodore Malgorn standing in the open doorway at the base of the lighthouse. In the frame directly behind Malgorn, a massive wave is engulfing the entire structure, a wall of white water taller than the lighthouse itself, frozen in the instant before impact. Malgorn survived only because he stepped back inside and slammed the heavy door a split second before the wave struck. The photograph won the World Press Photo Award and remains one of the most iconic images of human vulnerability against nature ever captured. The lighthouse was automated in 1991, ending the era of human habitation. But the image endures. One man, one open door, and a wave the size of a 10-story building arriving behind him. Standing inside La Jument during a storm, the walls vibrate. The sound is not a crash. It is a deep, percussive boom that you feel in your chest. Before you hear it with your ears. The Atlantic does not knock. It strikes. That photograph captured a single second between life and death. If a moment like that stays with you, subscribe to Explore Danger, because every video on this channel is built around moments exactly like that one. Santorini cliffside homes, Greece. Those whitewashed houses and legendary sunsets sit on the fractured rim of a supervolcano that already destroyed an entire civilization. Santorini is a Greek island in the Aegean Sea, and the village of Ia, famous worldwide for its cubic white homes stacked along a sheer cliff, sits directly on the inner edge of one of the largest volcanic calderas on Earth. The caldera was formed by a catastrophic eruption around 1600 BC, known as the Minoan eruption, estimated at 4 to 8 times more powerful than Krakatoa in 1883. That explosion collapsed the island's center, triggered tsunamis across the eastern Mediterranean, and may have contributed to the total collapse of the Minoan civilization on nearby Crete. The cliffs that hold the homes of Ia and Phyra drop nearly 300 meters straight into the sea-filled caldera below. Buildings are stacked so densely on the cliff edge that some structures are cantilevered over the drop. Narrow stone pathways wind between houses with waist-high walls, the only barrier between a tourist and a vertical fall to the water far below. In 1956, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake destroyed a significant portion of the island's buildings and killed 53 people. Many residents left permanently. Those who stayed rebuilt on the same cliffs, on the same volcano, in the same positions above the same caldera. The volcano beneath Santorini is not extinct. The small island of Nea Kameni at the center of the caldera last erupted in 1950, and geologists continuously monitor the area for both seismic and volcanic activity. Over 2 million tourists visit every year, drawn by scenery that ranks among the most photographed on Earth. Most never consider that the cliffs their hotels perch on are the shattered rim of a volcano that has already erased a civilization once. The sunsets are extraordinary. The caldera is stunning, and somewhere beneath the waterline, the same geological force that created all of it is still very much alive. 20 houses. 20 places where every engineer, every geologist, and every survival instinct said the same thing: do not build here. And in every single case, someone did it anyway. What this list reveals is not recklessness. It is something deeper and harder to name. Every house on this list exists because someone decided that the danger was worth what the place offered. A view, a tradition, a livelihood, a spiritual purpose, or simply the stubborn refusal to let geography dictate where a human being is allowed to live. Explore Danger covers these places, because understanding them changes how you see the built world around you. The roof over your head tonight sits on ground that someone at some point decided was safe enough. Every home is a bet against nature. The homes on this list just made that bet with higher stakes than most of us can imagine. If this video taught you something you did not know before, subscribe to Explore Danger. We go to the places the world forgets to talk about, and we bring back the full story. Every fact, every number, every detail that earns your time. We will see you in the next one.